For this demonstration, I'm using my Kromski loom. Decided to put it on the stand, so if you're interested in the stand, this is what it looks like. The Kromski stands are a little bit different than the ones for the Presto, but I just want to give you a look at this. So right now I have my loom placed in that area, and I'm going to zoom over, or not zoom, yeah, move over to the table over here. I have a lot of things going on in my studio, so sometimes you're like, okay, hopefully it's not too distracting. So I'm going to walk over here right now, and what I have are two pegs. This is the peg that comes with the Presto. This is the one that comes with the harp loom. So I want to just show you that either one you can clamp to a table, to a chair, whatever you have. And what I've done is I've measured the distance between here and the rod behind the heddle to be 3 feet. So that's my plan for this particular warp, to be 3 feet. Now let's take a look at what I have on the table here. The other thing, what we have here is the one hook. This one normally comes with the harp loom. You have a hook at one end and a loop at the other. The Presto Loom comes with a larger hook at one end and a smaller one. So the larger one would be for the slot, and the smaller one would be for your hole. And I'll be demonstrating with both of those in a moment. Now we're going to go back to the loom. You could also, like I showed you before, you can clamp the loom to a table if you do not have the stand. Not a problem with that. For this demonstration, I'm using my Kromski loom. Decided to put it on the stand, so if you're interested in the stand, this is what it looks like. The Kromski stands are a little bit different than the ones for the Presto, but I just want to give you a look at this. So right now I have my loom placed in that area, and I'm going to zoom over, or not zoom, yeah, move over to the table over here. I have a lot of things going on in my studio, so sometimes you're like, okay, hopefully it's not too distracting. So I'm going to walk over here right now, and what I have are two pegs. This is the peg that comes with the Presto. This is the one that comes with the harp loom. So I want to just show you that either one you can clamp to a table, to a chair, whatever you have. And what I've done is I've measured the distance between here and the rod behind the heddle to be 3 feet. So that's my plan for this particular warp, to be 3 feet. Now let's take a look at what I have on the table here. The other thing, what we have here is the one hook. This one normally comes with the harp loom. You have a hook at one end and a loop at the other. The Presto Loom comes with a larger hook at one end and a smaller one. So the larger one would be for the slot, and the smaller one would be for your hole. And I'll be demonstrating with both of those in a moment. Now we're going to go back to the loom. You could also, like I showed you before, you can clamp the loom to a table if you do not have the stand. Not a problem with that. Now let's take a look a little bit more at our setup. What I've put on the floor is a cone of yarn. This yarn is the thickness of the sugar and cream, the cotton that you might use to knit or crochet dishcloths. And then what I've done, I have it up here at the top. And if you take note, there's a set of cords that come with the Presto Loom, and you loop it over your heddle, the top of your heddle, no matter how wide your loom is. Remember, this is the Kromski, that's only 9 inches. And then you have the bar, and I've put it between that also. The harp looms, I think they still come with something like this that you put on the side of the loom, and you can put your rod in there. I find that I like this method better because it's holding this back rod even at both ends. I'm not worried, and I can do a lot of, it just seems the tension is a little bit better. Again, that's something that I'm going to change over to. The next thing I did was I took part of that yarn and I just tied a knot. So this is secure, it's a knot there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to measure to make sure that I have the project centered, and then we're going to start threading, and I'm going to use both of the hooks to show you how you can thread with either one of those. Again, I'm trying to use some of the tools that are on both of the looms that you might get, either the Harp or the Presto. Now we're going to start threading the heddle, and I'm going to bring it up here. Hopefully you can see the angle there, and then we'll go back to the peg that I have secured to the table. So right now, the very first thread I have tied on, and like I said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's centered. This is going to be 4 inches wide. We're doing some narrow coasters. I have a pencil mark in the middle, so I'm going to go over to this slot here. Now, if you're left-handed, maybe you might go the other way. This just happens to be the way that I go. So I'm going to pull it through. We're going to take it all the way over, and I'm going to zoom over to the peg so you can see what it looks like. So we'll follow that along, and it is on that peg there. I picked that peg to use. All right, now we're going to come on back, and we're going to do the next one. So we're going to make sure that it's around. I'm going to again take the slot. We're going to make sure though, as I take it through, it's going to wrap around that back rod and bring it through. And I'm going to tighten it just a little bit. Bring it through there. I'm going to do another one, and then we'll go and see what we're doing. Okay, so I have one. I'm going to go into the next slot. And again, we're going to remember that we are wrapping it around. So I want to make sure that I get that in the back there. Pull it all the way through. Come on back. And then I'm going to do another scan over so you can see what they look like. And then we'll go and do a little close-up. So right now we have several of the threads. Can tighten them up a little bit like that. So we're going to come back, and again I'm going to do a little bit of a close-up so maybe you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing. And I'm going to use the other hook. So we're going to use the hook that comes along with the Presto. Again, we're going to wrap this down around here. I'm going to start it there, and I make sure that I'm going through the next hook. I can use either side. I can use a large one, which is probably what they suggest to do with the slots. So we're bringing that across, around, and I'm going to do the same thing to the next one. Wrap the hook there and pull it through, and we'll be putting it on the peg. And then I'm going to continue with that until I get to 4 inches on the other side of where the pencil mark is. All right, on my last set, so I'm going to wrap it around and bring it through. Oh, I got caught on that. Now, you could, I think some of the patterns in Kromski, they tell you count over so many slots. You could do that. You could center it, measure it, and then count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Basically, I believe I have 7 on both sides. So now we're finished with that. So what I have to do is I have to cut that and then tie it to that back rod. So we're going to just cut that there. And you can do, I'm just do a double, kind of tie it twice, like that. And now we're basically ready to start winding the warp onto this back beam here. but I do need to make sure that I have either some sticks, or in this case, I happen to have a roll of paper. Now this paper for this loom is too wide, so I'm going to get a paper that's a little bit narrower. You want it to be basically the same width, a little bit wider. Of course, like I said, this one's too wide to fit on here. It won't wrap on, so I'm going to go and pick out one of the papers that I have that's the right size, and we'll start rolling the warp on. All right, in this case, I happen to have a roll of corrugated cardboard, just the right length. I think it came with something I was packing. And what we'll be doing, I'm gonna put that down there for now, we need to take those off. And to show you what it looks like here, all the way across. So it's on that, oh, where are we there? The peg, along with my tape measure on the floor. Now you have two options. If you have it on a table like that, you could wind it and have the table keep coming. It holds a little tension. Or in this case, I also have, since I have it on a stand, I could start winding it and having the tension on as I'm winding, I could have my loom start moving toward the peg. So you have two different ways of doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wind it enough that, and how do you wind it? So I'm going to wind a little bit here, because what I'm trying to do now, so I'm going to get my peg, and as you can see it's starting. So right now I have that in between, just across that back cylinder there. If you have sticks, you can use the sticks, but I'm going to use this. You notice I'm going to put it out here. I'm going to start winding it. Now the other thing you want to make sure is that the paper or cardboard is going to pile up all together, like the sides are going to be even. I'm going to move this over here so we can continue watching as I use a little bit of the tension there. And we'll move the camera again. Again, this is you could also hold it. Some people, I'll go on this side also, I could also stand here and hold a little tension with my hands. It's nice that this is a narrow warp. If it was a little bit wider, I wouldn't be able to do that. And sometimes people have more than one person to help them, or at least one other person. So we go a little bit more this way, where we're almost to the end. All right, now I'm going to take this off and use my hands to kind of keep it in one place. And I'm going to stop just about there.